We're Kim and Al. We have been planning our escape from a fast-paced corporate life since we met 10 years ago. Freedom 45. This year, we finally pulled the ripcord. We quit our jobs, sold our home in the city, bought a property in the sticks, and are building an off-grid home ourselves. We're excited to share our experience as we create our new life on the North River.
Howdy folks, just wanted to give you guys a quick update, yet another quick update on our solar installation here. So as we mentioned previously, we took a trip down south, visit family and whatnot, and we came back with another 500 pounds of AGM batteries. So again, just a quick overview, and we'll do as promised a much more in-depth kind of segment on the solar system, but for now just simplify things. What we've had is we have a 24 volt system which is comprised of 4 6-volt batteries, and they're wired in series. If you wire batteries in series, you add the voltage together. If you wire them in parallel, you get the same voltage but you get longer duration. So on that we have 4 batteries that are 6 volts each with their 460 amp hour lifespan, and you only get half of that, so you get 230 amp hours. And so what we've done is bought 4 more batteries, wired them in series, so essentially created 2 battery banks, each 24 volts, because that's what our system requires, and then wired those 2 banks together in parallel. So now we've essentially doubled the capacity of our system, which will be wonderful in the summer and is actually very helpful now in the winter. So even a day like this, if I were to pan the camera over yonder, you'll see that it is cloudy, but the sun is, you can kind of see the outline of the sun shining through. And if I take a quick peek inside, we are at 27.8 volts, which is essentially just about fully charged. And that will drop down to roughly 25.3 volts at night. That's like where we start in the evening once we don't have any solar input. So that's our float charge. That's kind of where the batteries stop discharging immediately and start providing kind of constant power. And what will happen to us usually on a day like this where we don't get lots and lots of sun, it'll charge up, but if we're busy drawing from the bank inside, running lights and different things, they'll never stay fully charged, and by the end of the day, you know, maybe we have about 24.9, 24.8 volts, and if we're watching TV or Kim's working on the movies with the computer, then we end up depleting the batteries down close to 24 volts, and you know, ideally you don't want that to go below 24 volts, so we end up running the generator to top them up. And in this last week or so, being at the darkest time of the year, we've had to run the generator a few times, right? Sometimes in the morning, just because they're already depleted and they're not going to catch up fast enough for our demand, and then in the evening too, before bed. And obviously we don't want to be burning gas. The idea is to be, you know, clean and off grid. So our solution was, and again, like we mentioned before, this is what inevitably happens. You start small, then you decide what you need and add only as required. So we purchased these 4 batteries. We've now doubled our duration, and it's wonderful. Like last night, we were at about 25.4 volts at float. And then I was really surprised right at the end of the night, after watching some documentaries and things and nerding it up and hanging out. And I just checked on it before going to bed, and we were still at 25 volts, which is great. And then this morning when I woke up, 24.9 volts. So we've always had enough power for what we're doing for the most part, and effectively doubling it means that, you know, I don't have any worries about it anymore. As long as, even a day like this, as long as we get a bit of sun through the clouds. I've got 2 battery banks now to charge, because the other thing to consider is you have 12 panels, 3 banks, 3 charge controllers charging these 4 batteries. Once they're charged fully, and anytime it's sunny, they're charged in the morning very quickly. And when I run my power tools and everything else, you know, it doesn't even put a dent in them. We're basically just drawing power directly from the sun, directly from the panels through the inverter. But at the end of the day, right, we've kind of squandered a lot of this sun, because if they're fully charged, then all this power is coming from the solar panels and doing nothing. So with the extra bank, now we have capacity to store some of that extra power, and that comes in really handy. Like in the summer, we'll have no concerns. You know, use the microwave at night, use the toaster, hair dryers, like all these things won't matter anymore. A, because the sun is up until 10 o'clock in the summers, and B, we have all this additional capacity. And the summers were never an issue for us anyways, really, but now it'll be even less so, because that's what we're trying to get to. We obviously don't want to be frivolous and start just, you know, wasting electricity like some of us, and including myself, did when, you know, we were living on the grid. But I also don't want to have to, well, no, we can't use the massage pad today or the heating pad because we're worried about our batteries depleting. So we want to get to a state of kind of normal operation. So that was yesterday, wiring up those batteries. So today, all I have to do, and you'll see the pictures that Kim will post, we've got some of that leftover 2-inch hardboard foam that we had used for the foundation. I built a box all the way underneath and around the batteries, but I want to add a little bit more insulation, pack it around the batteries, kind of make it tight, remove as much air as possible so we're not heating air, and just trapping as much heat inside that little enclosure. So that's what I'm going to be doing today.
Christmas is coming. Start sending your letters off to Santa. Christmas is coming, yeah. Better be nice if you want your present. Tell all your brothers, sisters, mama and papa too. Christmas is coming, yeah. Staying up late looking out the window.
Hey everybody, happy laundry day.
Yeah.
At least for us.
Yeah, so as you guys know, or maybe you don't, our videos are about 2 weeks behind. So we've already had Christmas,
Yep,
and
it's done, over.
Yeah.
Beat it.
And so we had Norval this week, which was really nice.
Yeah, love you, B.
Yeah. We had a lot shorter of a visit time in between this time, so it was just really nice. And we are going to actually be going down in the new year for our windows, because we finally got the notification that they're in. So we're going to do that in the new year, and going to be spending some time with him then as well. So that's really nice. We're really looking forward to that. But this week has basically been visits, and this is one of the first times that we, well, other than when we went down south, that we left our place for a little bit. And do you want to tell them what happened with the solar panels?
Yeah, I guess really when and I always tend to be overly dramatic, but when we left, I wasn't able to get the sail switch working properly. So it was doing its job in that it would turn the fan on as I was hoping, but its presence in the middle of that pipe was causing a bit of backflow, which was basically signaling the furnace to turn off. And we were just kind of pressed for time, so I gambled on hoping that the sun, looking at the weather, that we'd have enough power to keep the fan, the exhaust fan that we have, just running continually 24/7 while we were away. And when we got back, we heard a little beeping coming from the solar shed. Yeah. Not
Beeping
nearly.
it's just alarming because we're still
it's an
learning,
alarm.
and it's still, well, yeah, but it's still new for us. So as much as we're used to it and we're feeling good about the amount of power that we're getting, it's still new. And when we leave, there's still that, trepidation.
Yeah, so basically, when we got back, it really wasn't all that bad in the end of it. So what happens is, as you start to approach 23 volts, which is the cutoff, so the system, again, it's set up so that each of the 6-volt batteries, like any AGM battery or lead acid battery for that matter, they have a cutoff voltage where if you go below that, you're going to kill it. And the way that these, a good system, it will be set up so that it has fail-safes in place. So for ours, if you do not intervene and you allow the batteries to collectively, the 6-volt batteries, the 4 of them in series that give you your 24 volts or more, if they get to 23 volts, the inverter will shut off. Like, it just basically uncle, and it'll just, no matter what you're doing or what you're relying on, it's just gonna shut down. So we weren't there. It was like 23.6 volts. So we had this kind of like, hey, pay attention. You're running your output or your demand is exceeding your capacity. So we ran the generator, charged it back up. I ended up calling the folks at Microgeen, and again, no endorsement, no affiliation, but they really are great. Like, smaller company, they specialize in those power pack integrated units. So they're not creating their own charge controllers or anything like that. They are buying a set of devices that they've already figured out work really well in the sandbox together, and then they integrate them into one housing. And they're also I think it's UL rated, so they will pass an electrical inspection. They are legitimate, like a legitimate device and solution. So being a small company, you can basically call their engineer and he will talk you off a ledge or answer your questions and give you as much information as you can wrap your head around. Dive as deep as you'd like, or keep it as simple as it's necessary. So he just explained to me, really, 23 volts is the cutoff. It's never going to go below that anyways. You really do want to do your very best to ensure that you're always above 24 volts. And the irony is that had we already installed the 4 batteries, the 500 pounds of batteries that we had in the back of the pickup when we got home, we wouldn't have had a problem. But such is life. So the other thing that happened too is we got a little overzealous with the second set of batteries, because it really was quite significant. When me and Kim were just the two of us, at the end of the day after they were charged, it was at 25.4 volts, I think it was, and usually what happens is, by 6 or 7 o'clock, if we're watching TV while eating dinner, and then we'll start watching a movie or a documentary or something after, if I go to just check on it, it's usually at about 25 volts or 24.9, 24.8. Like it's starting to starting to deplete. In this case, though, when I went out, it was still sitting at 25.3. So, I know the math means that it can only be twice as long duration, but it really is. It just makes a world of difference. You really just need about 3 or 4 hours of direct sun. We'll charge those both banks, all 8 batteries, right up to the tippity top, and then we know we're good for another 2 or 3 days with really not worrying about what the weather's going to do for us. So good solution. We're really happy with it. We're feeling a little bit more normal. Like we don't have to we're not like warming our hands over candles and using crank up flashlights to read at night and ridiculous stuff. Because we just, like I say, we don't want to be that Spartan.
No. And then the other thing that we did was we got our air purifier. So Al had ordered an air purifier just to...
HEPA filter, yeah. It's just a little box. It doesn't draw very much power, and I like it has, it's great for off-griddery because it's got a brightness setting, so you can even turn off the LEDs that light the display. And there's a timer. Yeah. So if we want to, just put it on for an hour after we leave, or we want it on when we're here, we don't have to watch it. We don't have to monitor it. It'll just turn off on its own. Yeah, just one of those things. It's not like, oh, damn, I forgot to turn it off. It's been running for 8 hours, and it's running down the batteries. But, yeah, great little unit. It was only about $100 or so, and it makes a huge difference, right? So if I forget to open the door a crack and it gets a little smoky in the enclosure outside of the trailer, I just turn that on, set it for an hour, and it just smells like nice, clean, crisp, yeah, filtered air, whatever. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, that's really it for this week, just because the batteries is really the only thing that we did. But we did have a really nice Christmas. We hope everybody else did too. We know a lot of our families and friends did. So we're looking forward to the new year. We're looking forward to getting those windows in finally. So yeah. More on that later. Yeah. See you guys. Folks.